3 people, and they wrote this constitution and put it there that we, the people of Nigeria, have agreed. And that constitution produced a president that is more like a dictator. Over 199 sections of this constitution empowers the president to do anyhow, to appoint the chairman of an electoral commission in which he would contest an election, empowers the president to become the chief of commander-in-chief of the armed forces, whereby the governor of a state has no say in what goes on in the security of his state. And so that constitution is what is causing the problem, is what is leading to the various agitation. We must agree.
How do we retrace our steps?
To retrace that step is for us to sit down together and tear this constitution into pieces, and come back to agree on the terms of our existence. Let me just give you, because this is very important. If you say, for instance, the resources of Nigeria, they are coming from oil, they are coming from mines and minerals, they are coming from cattle, they are coming from so and so. The condition for sharing that resources must be agreed within us. I'm from the Niger Delta, in the larger local government of Ondo State. My community is not linked to power. I have never seen light or electricity in my village since I was born. The conditions of my village is that we live in the swamp. We don't have land mass. And the reason for that is that resources are situated in our area. And that because of that we can't develop. And then the condition for sharing that resources is population. The condition for sharing that resources is land mass, both of which I don't have. Either because of my faith, I'm not allowed by reason of my education or faith to produce 10 babies from my wife. I can't do that. But those are the conditions for benefiting from the resources of the federation, and it's being imposed upon us. And I'm now at a disadvantage because I don't have land mass and I don't have population, but I have resources. So you tie me down and continue to say I must exist in that federation. That's why we said let us sit down and discuss the circumstances of the sharing of the resources.
Okay, so that's the resource control part of the call for restructuring.
That is the resource control. And then the other point is this. What is the business of a federal government in policing? What is the business of the federal government in education? To centralize admission. Let us remove these things that you call federal exclusive list, which has crippled virtually everywhere, and allow the federating units, the states, the local government to handle certain things. Why will a local government not give you license to produce power for your own local government? What is the business of the federal government in regulating power in the villages?
Let me take you back to what you said about roads. You said we should make it compulsory that monies should be allocated to roads, and if that doesn't happen, they can take them to court. Isn't that what is already obtainable by our budgeting system? And lawyers can always go to court if they feel something is not happening. Does any law stop anybody from going to court at the moment?
What we mean by enforcing Chapter 2 is this. Education should be compulsory to a particular extent. There must be a percentage of government resources that is committed to education. The United Nations says 26%, minimum 26% of your budget. But our budget currently is focused on security, because that is the way to embezzle money, because you cannot audit that. And you see what has happened in respect of Jonathan Dasuki. It's always security that people use to bamboozle us and take away our resources. And so that security has just become a carte blanche by which people take their hands into the resources. So we should stop that and ensure that the provisions asking for education, asking for road, are inserted in the constitution, not budget.
So what do we do about security?
Well, look, if everybody is satisfied, if resources go around, if there is education, if there is employment, if there are mass infrastructures and companies everywhere, crime will reduce. Agitation for self-determination will go down. The issue of wanting to get federal appointment at all costs will fizzle out. Because what is the cause of marginalization and the crime in the southeast is that when you look at the structure of appointment, when you look at the structure of the distribution of resources in Nigeria, they are marginalized.
So why then?
And that is truth.
So why?
So
then,
you reduce the effect of the federal might.
Why then is there a delay in this restructuring process? Is it the modalities, or is it the way to approach the issues?
No.
What seems to be the problem?
No, you realize that when the vice president was elected, when he was vice president and there was a substantive president, everywhere the president would go to, he was talking about true federalism. He was talking about restructuring, because that is the agenda of his party. That is the promise upon which we put them into power. So it is fraudulent, I'm saying with all due respect, to now get to power and you have this manifesto here, and it's clear you say you want to devolve power, and then people will be running away from that restructuring from true federalism. That's why we are agitating now to say Nigerians should take their destiny in their hand. The reason why the politicians are delaying is that people are profiting from the rot. People are profiting from the marginalization.
No, that's not what they said. They said the reason for this delay is because we are in a recession.
What does the recession got to do with restructuring? For God's sake. Restructuring is a fundamental thing that has to do with constitution. Set up the processes. Let there be some assurance. Let there be a document. Let there be a commitment. You see that the agitation will go down. Because we can't go into 2019 election with the way we are as a country now. We deceive ourselves.
Do you agree
we
with those who
cannot do
say
that?
That the problem is actually about leadership, leaders who are not fair and just to the people, that if we do have such leaders, we won't have all this agitation?
It's not about leadership. No, if you bring an angel to be president of Nigeria, this constitution will pull him down. This constitution as it is now is structured in such a way that it cannot achieve good governance.
Are you saying that the acting president is incapacitated?
Well, I don't know whether you have anything that shows you that the acting president is in charge. As far as I'm concerned, and with the document of his appointment, he says he's a coordinator. He's coordinating the activities of government, and we have seen the evidence of that coordination. There were delays in signing budget. There are all manner of cabals who are around him. So as I am here, I know that the acting president is incapacitated. I know that people travel to London to sign documents. That is the truth. And so we cannot expect that the acting president will implement restructuring. That will be a pipe dream. It is for us as Nigerians to continue that agitation and get our representatives in the National Assembly to make a law, to pass a law to ensure that people come together and discuss this constitution, not people gathering in private places.
This is what the Senate has done. The Senate has asked the executive, send us the recommendations of the 2014 confab. We want to look at it. It has not gotten to them up to this time. What do you think is happening?
No, the matter we have at hand is beyond the confab. Purely beyond the confab. We get to a situation in this country when, if we do not agree now, I mean, people are saying the election will not hold in Anambra State in November. You can't stop them. You can't force it on them. You can't take soldiers there and say, go and shoot those who are not going to vote.
No, but they cannot forcefully stop people from going out to vote.
No, self-determination. It's the people themselves. They have demonstrated it. On the 30th of May, everywhere in the Southeast was paralyzed when they stayed at home.
We'll go to break.
And we support them.
We'll be back and take a look at more practical steps on what we need to do about this call. Join us again.